Greetings, Taku Faithful. Thank you for joining me again this week. Once again, it's Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief, and I'm here to bring you all yet again another Black Sails episode review right here on Otaku Assemble Weekly. And as always, I'm here to bring you the latest in this week's Black Sails episode review. And this is my review of Season 1, Episode 6. Now, general thoughts on this week's episode. Man, this episode was a doozy. I will say that there were a lot of twists and turns, a lot of things going on in this episode, a lot of shocks, a lot of what the fucks, and then by the end of the episode, when everything started to tie together and everything started to fall in place, there was a lot of, oh, that's what that was. So yeah, a lot of that going on in this week's episode. So let me just go ahead and jump right into the review. So first off, I want to talk about all the stuff that happened on the mainland. Since we were back and forth, mainland action, and then of course the action on the sea. So I'm gonna start off the review focusing on what was going on the mainland. So first and foremost, let's go ahead and let's talk about Eleanor and pretty much what she got into this week. Now, I'm not surprised that Eleanor decided to lift the ban on Captain Ban on Captain Vane. Ban on Captain Vane. I'm not surprised whatsoever that she did that, because let's face it, she didn't have a choice. We saw in last week's episode when Captain Hornigold pretty much threw down the gauntlet and he told her, it's like, yeah, I'll go ahead, I'll coincide with this new operation, I'll go ahead and I'll fall in line, I'll follow suit. But you gotta lift that ban on Captain Vane. That's the only way I'm gonna do it. And he gave her an ultimatum. He's like, hey, I don't hear back from you in a couple of hours, I'm pulling my dudes off the street and you'll be left to your own devices. So I'm not surprised that Eleanor went ahead and did that, because that was the only way her plan was gonna work. Without that, that was it. There was no more need for discussion. Nothing that she could come up with or set up or figure out or anything. Without Hornigold, that was it. It was done. So I'm actually not surprised that she did that. I will tell you what I was surprised by, though. In regards to Eleanor's involvement in her little plan with Bonny, and then of course John Silver getting involved in that. First and foremost, I wasn't surprised that they were going to drag Silver into that. I knew he was going to get his hands dirty with something. He wasn't just going to stay chained to that chair, to that sofa. You know what I mean? I knew he was going to get involved in something. But about that whole plan, that whole scenario, what went down with that, what I am surprised actually is that Rackham did not get involved. I was actually surprised by that. Now, granted, they do state in the episode how Bonny kept him in the dark because she knew he would never coincide with it. And then Rackham even admitted, he said, well, I didn't even know that the thing that was going on with Max was that big of an issue for you to even go ahead and consider something like this. But I don't know. I just felt, I don't know. Maybe this was just the episode where it's like, okay, Rackham's on vacation this episode. Let's give him a break. Let's let him chill out for a while. But yeah, that was one of the things that surprised me. That she didn't even. It's not even so much that she would have sought out his help as okay, you're the one that's going to figure this whole thing out. No, because we knew Rackham he didn't have that type of clout. I mean, especially from what we saw in the last two episodes, he was almost at the mercy of his crew, and he was just trying to keep everybody together. So yeah, when you think about it like that, yeah, it wouldn't make sense for him to oppose them, and especially over some broad that he barely knows. But at the same time, it does bring into question exactly the circumstances of him and Bonny's relationship, especially if she can go ahead and go behind his back and do something like that, knowing that he wouldn't approve. Interesting, isn't it? Alright, so second thing I want to talk about, and this is going to be the perfect segue over once I get into my discussion with Flint and his crew. The scene with Miss Barlow. First off, I want to go on the record and state that it was a very well written scene. I love the dialogue in that scene. I thought that whole that exchange was pieced together very well. But I am curious about this though. And immediately first off, I called it before it happened. I was like, she gonna end up sleeping with the pastor. I knew that was going. I was calling. I was waiting for it, especially since at the beginning of the episode, you know, when they have the rating at the beginning, they said brief nudity. So I knew we was going to be seeing nudity of some kind, and I figured that would be the perfect point to do it. But here's the thing, though. I can't help but feel that she did that for selfish reasons. Because here's the thing. Pastor went apeshit after, according to him, after Richard Guthrie pretty much did his whole, not testimony, confession. After he went ahead and did his confession, you know, Pastor went apeshit because he knew what was going on now, and you know, he's running to Miss Barlow. He's so concerned for her safety, and I'm not gonna call the pastor a liar, but I knew that it wasn't just, oh, he's just so selfless that he cares so much about her. I mean, I knew he was infatuated with her, but the thing is, her sleeping with him. Call you back, I'm doing a video. But anyway, but her sleeping with him, I think that was for selfish reasons, because when he came to her and spewed out all of, you know, her little plan, let's face it, he's a liability. This dude is running around town, running his mouth. Yeah, she couldn't let him leave that house unsatisfied. She had to do something to keep him quiet. So I'm not, yeah, that makes perfect sense why she would do that. You know what I mean? But like I said, I still love that scene. It was probably one of my favorite scenes in the episode, just because, like I said, that dialogue was on point. It was. Every rebuttal, every line was like, ah, yeah. Okay, so now, since I'm done with that, now let's segue over to what was going on with Flint, with the crew of the Walrus, with them going up against the Andromache, and then of course, remember, the Scarborough is still around. So yeah, once again, we're at the stalemate where Captain Bryce and his crew are still locked up in the hold, and Flint and his crew, they've commandeered the ship, but they can't go down there. They can't get them. They can't get to the guns. Now, yeah, and that was another thing that kind of tripped me out too. How the letter from Miss Barlow, which is a perfect segue into this, but the letter from Miss Barlow, see, that was one of those Easter eggs I thought were going to get planted and wasn't going to be brought up for a while. But no, they picked up with that immediately. They led with that. Because the whole scene between Billy and Gates, when Flint walks in at the end of their conversation, you know, that was at the beginning of the episode. They hit the ball rolling with that. And yeah, and see, that's another thing that tripped me out about Miss Barlow. The fact that that letter was a pardon for Flint and not for herself. See, I can't figure this woman out. You guys remember what I said about her? I think, what was it? Yeah, in my last review, I can't figure her out. So anyway, so yeah. So they're leading with that scene from jump. We're getting, you know, Billy and Gates talking about that letter after finding out what it was. And how at odds they seem to be, which is also really weird, because the letter, you know, Billy kept harboring on that last sentence of that letter where it says, you know, she fears that Flint may be in danger if the men find out about his betrayal. And I think Billy misinterpreted that, because I don't think that the letter is necessary. Well, actually, no. No, yeah, that actually would make more sense if that pardon is suggesting that Flint is actually turning in his own men for the party, you know, like he has agreed to it, then yeah, then Billy would jump to the conclusion that, oh, he's trying to sell us out. But then if that was the case, then why would Gates just write it off the way he did? Because remember, Gates completely, like, he didn't even bother with it. He was like, out of sight, out of mind. Granted, it was because the immediacy of the situation, you know, we're in battle, but still, he was like, whatever. I don't know. So anyway, but no, I'm gonna get back to that because yeah, we're gonna have to talk about what happened to Billy. But anyway, so yeah, so what else? Oh man, what else happened with that? Okay, brief note. The thing with Mr. Scott, I'm sorry. I watched the episodes. I watched episode 4 twice. Only seen episode 5 once, and then I watched this one once so far. And I'm still trying to figure out what happened with Mr. Scott. Because we saw Mr. Scott agree to help Richard when he was going, when he decided to put his plan into motion to go against Eleanor. And we knew that Mr. Scott felt slighted after Eleanor was getting ready to disregard him and to take and kill Captain Bryson. So if Scott agreed to Richard's plan, why would he be on the Andromache in chains on his way to Boston? And why did Captain Bryson feel the need to lecture him in last week's episode? See, I don't know what happened with that. Was it that Mr. Scott went ahead with the plan and it was all a setup between Richard and Captain Bryson to punish him for going along with Eleanor all this time? Because Mr. Scott said he was supposed to stay behind to protect Flint from Eleanor. So was he supposed to be on the Andromache as an ace in the hole in case Flint got the guns to prevent them from getting them? Because if that's the case, then why did y'all put him in chains in the first place? Why wasn't he with Captain Bryson and the others? Or was that all supposed to be a ruse? Because if it was, then why would Captain Bryson feel the need to lecture Mr. Scott about, forgetting his place in last week's episode? I don't know who betrayed who in that whole scenario. I really don't. See, that's one of the what the fucks I was talking about at the beginning of the review. What the fuck, man? I don't know. I hope they explain that, but okay, but bear with me now. Think about this. Consider this. If all of what I just said may be the case, then does that mean that when they return to Nassau, Mr. Scott's going to go back to Eleanor and go against Richard's plan? Or does he intend to go back, still intending to carry out Richard's plan? I don't know. Yeah, and if that's the case, then he's a double agent. And that would never fly, because Eleanor would know that he's going along with her dad's plan. Okay. Alright. So, let's see. Other what the fucks. Man. Captain Bryson with that, what was that? What was those? And see, the whole time I couldn't figure out what the hell those things were. Those little knickknacks that he was messing with throughout the episode. And yeah, we found out that's that was some type of ignition device, because it set off the gunpowder and whatnot and signaled to the Scarborough once again, dude. Captain Bryson, that's a smart motherfucker, because he had a contingency. Even if they managed to get into the hold and to take the ship, he was like, no, I still got an ace in the hole, motherfuckers. Y'all just ain't gonna take my ship. Man, that was a smart fucking dude. I tell you, I'm sad to see him go. I would have liked to see him stick around a little bit longer. So yeah, so now I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna comment on the thing with Billy. Yeah. So we can only assume, because last we saw Billy he was on the side of the ship up there with Flint, and Flint decided that then would be the next, that would be the best time to discuss the letter. Which makes me think that Flint went up there with the intention of killing Billy in the first place. The fact that he would even bring that up then made me think it's like, yeah, he was already planning on getting rid of Billy, and that was the most opportunistic moment to do so. So yeah, we get this scene with the exchange between them, and then next thing we know, Flint's running around talking about Billy fell overboard, and you can tell it was an act. It was obvious that it was an act, because he did not act genuinely shocked or genuinely concerned. So we knew it was an act. So here's my thing. I'm curious. Did he throw Billy overboard? Or did he kill him first and then toss him overboard? Because if he didn't kill him first and he just tossed him overboard, there's still the chance Billy could still be alive. Because, hey, this is a lesson I learned from Game of Thrones. Until you see a corpse, no death is confirmed. Until you see a corpse. We did not see Billy's corpse, therefore there's a chance he could still be out there. But that's what my question is now. Did he just throw him overboard, or did he kill him first and throw him overboard? Because if he left, if he just threw Billy overboard and there's the slight chance that Billy could survive, oh yeah, Flint's fucked. Because Billy's going to come back on a full-fledged vendetta. And seeing as how he had more so of the loyalty of the crew than Flint had from jump, from the premiere, oh yeah, dude, that's a liability that Flint's just letting walk around. And I find that highly ironic when you go back and you take in consideration Eleanor's comment to John Silver about, do you really think Flint would leave leave a walking liability like you around? See, now I wonder. Anyway. So, is there anything else I want to... Oh, the Captain Vane. Who the fuck is that guy that he was hallucinating seeing that we saw him actually, approach at the end of the episode? I'm inclined to think that's his father, but they don't look anything alike. So who knows? Maybe that's a mentor? Or hell, who knows? Maybe... That could be the previous captain of the Ranger, or I don't know. It's anyone's fair guess who that guy is, but I'm really curious to see what that's supposed to lead to. So guess we'll find out. So anyway, yeah. So that's going to do it for this week's Black Sails episode review. I want to thank you all for joining me again this weekend. In the comments below, let me know your thoughts both on this week's episode, and let me know what you guys think about some of these questions. What the hell is going on with Mr. Scott? Did Flint kill Billy and then throw him overboard, or do you think he just tossed him overboard hoping that he would drown? Do you think Billy's still alive? And what you think Billy will do if he manages to cross paths with Flint and the crew again? Also, who's the big motherfucker that Captain Vane went and approached at the end of the episode? I don't know about you, the motherfucker look like a Viking. Let me know in the comments below, and also leave your thoughts on the events to occur in the last two episodes of season 1. Leave all of that in the comments below. Also, keep an eye out tomorrow night. My Legend of Korra season 2 review will be released. And yes, it's coming because it's already uploaded and processed and ready to go. I'm just releasing it tomorrow. So we ready to roll on that. We ready to roll. And stay tuned till the end of the Legend of Korra season 2 review for a major announcement for the OAW YouTube channel. And with that being said, this has been Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief, signing off. And until next time, peace.